Hello, friends. Welcome to the Get Cozy podcast. I'm your host, Alea. Get your crochet hook, get your knitting needles, get you a nice cold or warm beverage, and get cozy because we're about to sit back, relax, and yap. I don't know about you guys, but I love a good yapping session. So I decided to go ahead and turn my much needed vents into a Get Cozy podcast. I haven't done a podcast episode in a while. And I will admit it was because I felt like I had to have some type of structure. But I'm starting to realize you guys just want content, and that's what I want to give you. So I'm going to try to do more podcast like videos where I just sit here and talk to you guys about whatever I want to talk to you when it comes to crochet, Tanisha crochet, and now knitting because I've added knitting to my repertoire. It is currently 10:38 in the evening, nighttime. Everybody's asleep. My husband's at work, so I have at least 45 minutes of uninterrupted talking time. So I decided to go ahead and do it now. Do you guys like my little sign in the background? I am obsessed. So many great things have been happening in my life. I got my room together, but it's still a mess. I'm so glad you guys can't see the floor of my room right now because it looks crazy. My hair is a little bit crazy. Isn't it always? You know what is crazy is I'm very thankful that you guys don't talk about my hair because I be looking rough and y'all still just love my content. I have not been posting a lot of content as of lately just because it is the holidays. And it's crazy because if you would have told me that I would be 30 years old talking about knitting, crocheting, and had 2 kids and married at the age of 30, I would have called you a liar. I remembered when I was back in college, or I had just graduated college, and I was brokey broke, sitting up in my little studio apartment, crying because I had to go to work on Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve because I worked retail. And now, like, I get to talk to y'all for a living, and it's so much fun, and I have a ball. I used to be so depressed during the holidays, but now it's a different type of depressing because it's like, wow, one day my kids are gonna be grown, and it's just gonna be me and my husband. I'm not depressed because of that, but it's just like, wow, one day I will be the one that's again by myself. But it's okay, it's okay. I am living in the moment, and that's why like I haven't been posting a lot. I haven't been posting a lot of videos. Videos take a lot of time, and like I love recording videos, but I hate like editing them. And so I just thought maybe if I have some type of format where I don't have to edit it as much, it'll be a lot better. So we'll see how this works out. But I plan on doing more videos like this often. In today's installment of this episode of the podcast, I just want to show you guys what I've been working on lately. I did teach myself how to knit. And it's crazy because literally, I would tell you why I wanted to learn how to knit. And it's literally for this one project that I'm finally knitting, which is so crazy. But back in 2022, I tried to learn how to knit, went horribly and failed, so I didn't pick it back up. 2023, somebody gave me a pair of knitting needles, and I tried to knit again, absolutely failed. And then this year, I'm gonna tell you why I decided to pick up knitting again, and it finally stuck because I learned my own way and not listened to a whole bunch of other people. And now I'm actually really liking it and literally picking up my needles every single day. But I just want to share with you the projects that I've been working on. And I'm going to start with my first finished project. This is actually a pattern that I'm actually currently writing. And it's for a shawl pattern. For a scarf and shawl pattern. So it's going to be 2 different sizes. This right here is the scarf pattern. Oh my god. Excuse me. This is the scarf pattern. It's actually pretty long. And it is inspired by the Sophie scarf, but it is Tunisian crochet. And then if you look at it, it's just Tunisian crochet purl stitches and the mesh stitch. And I did it in different sequences of 7 and 3. And I did a crab stitch border. And I actually finished this when I went to Cancun with my husband for my 30th birthday. Um, we had so much fun, and this is a memory of when I finished it. This yarn is from Stitching with Yarn. It's called Berry Speckles OOK, and it's in worsted weight, and it's so squishy. It's so soft. I haven't blocked it yet, but look at all that movement. I can't wait to block this, and it's just so nice. I love it. Like I said, I am writing the pattern. It's super easy, and I want it to be both in the scarf and a shawl. So I do have the yarn for the shawl. I could show it. I think I've showed it before, but I'm super excited about it, and I can't wait for you guys to try it out. I do think that I'm gonna have to test it. This is one of those patterns that I think I'm gonna have to get tested, but I loved it a lot, and I think I might wear it for the rest of this episode. I just love it. I love it so much, and it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know how I'm gonna style it, but it just makes me so happy every time I see it. Every time I see it. So that's all that matters, right? I just love this thing so much. Even though it doesn't match with my outfit, it's okay. Okay, so I've always wanted to learn how to knit because of one pattern in particular, and that is called the Sophie scarf or the Sophie shawl. Now, if you don't know what a Sophie scarf or Sophie shawl is, use your little fingers and Google it, because it is probably the one pattern that everybody learns how to knit in, because it's so timeless. It's one of those things where you could make it and somebody see it 20 years from now and think, yes, that is the epitome of knit. It's just such a nice garment. It's a nice scarf. It's a nice shawl. It's nice and solid. And it's timeless. You can make it in so many different colors. You can do variegated yarn. You can do solid yarn. You can do speckled yarn. You can do any type of textured yarn. It would just look freaking good. That's the reason why I first learned how to knit. And I think that there's so many people, including myself, that takes inspiration from the shape of it and the silhouette of it. I've seen crocheted patterns that look like the Sophie shawl and the Sophie scarf. I'm gonna keep saying Sophie scarf. There's crochet patterns that look like that take inspiration from the Sophie scarf. There's Tunisian crochet patterns like my own that take inspiration from the Sophie scarf, and then there's other knit patterns. That scarf, I just see it everywhere, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to learn how to make it. When I first learned how to knit, people were trying to get me to learn how to knit continental, and I just didn't like it. They said, oh, if you're a crocheter, you should learn how to knit continental. It's like the same. And they say it's faster, it's more efficient, it's easier on your hands. It was so confusing. So that's why I didn't learn how to knit the second time. I mean, the first time. The first time and the second time. The second time, I was more like, okay, I'm going to learn how to knit. And then I learned how to knit continental, like doing the knit stitch. And then when it came to purling, I was like, absolutely not. I was like, you know what? This is too much for me. And I stopped again. And then I kept seeing more and more and more knitting on TikTok. And is TikTok and Instagram. Do I not have audio? Okay, I have audio. I thought I didn't have audio for a second. Y'all, I was freaked out. But I kept seeing it on TikTok and Instagram. And I was like, that looks way easier. So I learned that there's a different way of knitting, which is called English knitting. And that was so much easier. And I was like, oh, I can knit. And so I actually had a pair of knitting needles that somebody had gave me. And so I was using those. And I taught myself how to knit like within 3 hours. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. It was kind of like the first time I learned how to Tunisian crochet. And then I was like, I need to make everything. So I was working on a project that I was making a pattern for. And it was going to be like, it was going to be done by December. I was going to get it tested, and I was going to have it debut in January. And it was going to be the Tunisian crochet, petite heart knit stitch, whatever. It was going to be a cowl. But I was I want to say I was 75% finished with it, and it was so heavy because in Tunisian crochet, and I was using, I'm going to show you really quick. I was using the Malabrego. Y'all know I love Malabrego. I was using the Malabrego Noventa yarn, and it was gorgeous, beautiful, but it was so heavy. And I wasn't even finished with it. I was 75% finished with it, and this is all the yarn I had left. And I still had to do the ribbing. I would have had to buy 2 more skeins to do the ribbing for the top and the bottom. And this is $24 a skein. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And so I was like, you know what? I know how to knit. I'm just going to knit something I'm not right about it. I'm just going to knit it for knitting's sake. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. And so I scrapped my whole thing and I just was like, I'm just going to knit just to knit. And so I learned how to do 2x2 ribbing. I learned how to do the stretchy cast on. I did some stockinette rows, a row of pearls, stockinette pearls, and it's just a very simple cowl. And it's gorgeous and it's pretty and I love it and it's lightweight and I haven't blocked it yet, but once I block it, it'll be amazing. Now, it is pretty long. I will admit it is pretty long, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to fold. I'm going to do it on this side. I'm going to do like a folded look. And I think that's going to look a lot better and more like aesthetically weighted accurately, in my opinion. And so I'll give y'all an update on that when I do that. But just goes to show one mistake can turn into another masterpiece. And I think this is an absolute masterpiece. I'm really excited to share it on social media, but I wanted to share it with you guys first before I debut it on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a cowl that I made. This was actually my first knit project. My first completed knit project was this guy. I learned how to purl. I learned how to do stockinette, which is what this is, and I learned how to cast on and cast off. So I learned a lot of things, a lot of skills in this one, and how to knit in the round in this one project. And I learned how to block. So this yarn is actually from my best friend Casey. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, and she visited Fort Worth for a conference. And while she was there, she ran across a yarn store called West 7 Wool. And this is their chunky, I think they call it Chunky Boy in pumpkin. And it is their 100% superwash merino. And it's just stretchy and perfect, and I love it. And I don't wear orange very often, but this is just a gorgeous, beautiful orange. And what you see is what you get. It's just absolutely delicious and beautiful. Let me just show y'all again how amazing and beautiful it is. I love it so much. So that was my first project. And so I literally just finished this a few days ago. I wanted to make something for my husband because it's getting really, really cold. And he works outside for most of his job. And so so stay with me when I say this to you, okay? So where is it at? Okay, so I have, if you've seen my room tour yarn collection video, I think it's the last one I just posted, I talked about how I have a sweater quantity worth of Forever Fleece. This is what this is made out of, is Forever Fleece in lavender. And I wanted to do a Tunisian crochet cardigan. Well, that's not possible because that would be so heavy, so thick that it would be considered a coat. And it wouldn't be breathable, it wouldn't be fluid, it wouldn't be cardigan-like. And so I decided that I was just going to crochet it at the time before I learned how to knit. And so after knitting with this yarn, I would say that Forever Fleece is probably the acrylic equivalent to Malabrego Noventa in texture and how they move in property. So I was like, you know what? I really want to knit using. I loved how the cowl came out, so I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and see that Forever Fleece looking like in knit, and it is exactly how I thought it would be, and I think it'll be perfect for the ultimate cozy cardigan that I'm so excited to. I'm just thinking about laying in it. I'm so excited. But I need a little bit more experience before I can do something like that. So that's why I did this guy. Now this is kind of like a neck warmer, and it's like a drawstring neck warmer, and it's pretty cool. So my husband would actually put this underneath his coat. It would tuck inside of his coat, and he would wear it over his nose and mouth because it gets really cold out there, and this is going to definitely keep him warm. He tried it on. He looks absolutely adorable. And the drawstrings, I did like crocheted eye cords, and just everything about this is amazing, and I'm super excited. So I can't wait to start. Oh yeah, and I did a rolled hem on it, and everything just looks so cool. I really, really, really like this a lot. So I can't wait to get started on the Forever Fleece cardigan. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that, because I do think I'm going to vlog that. I think that's going to be absolutely epic. And I learned a lot while making this. And I think I'm going to make myself one. I have so many different yarns. I'm pretty sure I could do it. So you may be asking, Alea, you've been doing a lot of actual knitting. Have you actually started on the thing that made you want to knit in the first place, which is the Sophie scarf by Petite Knit? And you would be correct. I did, in fact, learn how to do the Sophie scarf from Petite Knit. Now the thing about it is, this is one of those patterns that if you know, because I know I'm not the only person to do this, if you know what it takes to make, like, if the pattern is so simple that you can look at it visually and know what it takes to make that without looking at the pattern, I feel like it's okay to not have to buy the pattern. So I already knew how to knit an I-cord. I had to learn how to increase. And this is just regular knit stitch, and then you are just like turning your work every row. So I didn't have to buy the pattern, but I'm just super excited. It's almost like beating a video game. That's how I feel while I'm making this. Now I am using acrylic yarn. I know some people are real snobs and snicklers about acrylic yarn. You know what? Let me go ahead and vent for a minute. All of those people who don't like acrylic yarn, or say that acrylic yarn is inferior, or you shouldn't be using acrylic yarn for whatever reason, go suck an egg. Do not tell me what I can and can't do. You see that wall of yarn behind me? You're gonna have to pry it out of my cold, dead hands, and I mean dead, 6 feet under, before I start using acrylic yarn. Okay. There is some really good acrylic yarn, and I know people were like, acrylic yarn is made out of plastic and it's forever chemicals and yada 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 yada, and it's bad for the earth. You know what else is bad for the earth? Us being on earth. Okay. Let me live, please. Let me live my life. Okay. I know there's so many people, oh my gosh, there's so many people talking about how we shouldn't be having acrylic yarn. Acrylic yarn needs to just go away. That is so, like, there's so many things wrong about. I think I could do a whole podcast on just that alone. Okay, if you want me to just talk and yap about, yarn elitism, I'll put it down in the comments, because it irritates me to no end. Okay, I can understand, like, us wanting to be more natural. I got you. But when it comes to yarn, leave me alone. when people say you shouldn't be hoarding yarn, leave me alone. I'm not a hoarder. I have plans. I'm just one person though. Okay? And I haven't actually bought that much yarn. Like, this was the first year out of the 4 years, going on 5 years, that I've been crocheting and doing fiber arts, that I bought less yarn ever. I'm very proud of myself. I've been shopping my stash especially ever since I put up my shelves and actually can see my yarn now. I've been doing a good job. I'm a, I, I've been a good girl, I would say. Okay, so the yarn that I'm actually using, I'm going to show you because I'm not taking out the bag. It was hard to put it in this little bag. Oh, this bag is from Mindful Knits. They are a partner of the channel. I love this little project bag. It's perfect for like these little yarn cakes or like Caron cakes. But this isn't Caron. This is actually Premier yarn in the butterfly yarn in the color, I think it's like Campfire or something. Riverbank. That's not the same. Anyway, it's like it has light blue, like this darker blue, like a grayish blue, a darker brown, a light brown, and then like light gray. And I actually have two of these. And so my plan for the Sophie scarf is to do my increases with one cake of yarn, and then when I finish with that cake, then I start doing the decreases with the other. That's my plan, and I'm sticking to it. So if you are interested in seeing how that goes, just make sure you're following me on Instagram at cozycrochet.co. That's where I share everything that I'm working on and all of my updates. But yes, it's literally like a dream come true now. I do plan on making this pattern with my actual natural fibers because I do have yarn specifically picked out for knitting the Sophie shawl. My original plan was to find a trusted knitter, buy the pattern for them, and then have them make it. That was my plan. That was my original plan. But now I don't have to. I don't even have to buy the pattern at this point. But I am making it, and I am super excited, and I am loving every minute of it. And it's bringing me so much joy. And it's really important for you to find things in life that bring you joy, because there's never a lack of things that will try to disrupt your joy. Speaking of disrupting your joy, you know what really disrupts my joy is when people are bullies on the internet, you guys. I absolutely hate it. I'm going to talk, and this is the only time you will ever hear me really get political. I'm not going to talk about who I voted for in the election. And I know that some people, there's reasons why I prefer not to, and I've actually talked about that. Let's talk about the video, first of all, how I said I wasn't going to vote. There were so many people who were mad at me before they finished watching that video. I thought it was really funny, but it just goes to show you that you should read or listen to everything all the way through first before you make an opinion. It's kind of like people who only read like the first what's it called, paragraph of a article before they make their opinion, and then start commenting. And then if you read like halfway down, it gives you the answer or the answers the question that you were having, or it was making a point that was better than what it made in the paragraph. Anyway, people were so mad. Like, people were so mad. And I actually had one person like unsubscribe and not what's it called, and they unsubscribed from my membership too, which was, that kind of hurt. But you know what? Lesson learned. I will always vote. I think voting is super important. And honestly, it doesn't matter who you vote for. I mean, it does matter who you vote for because it means the future of our country as we know it. But you know what does matter is how you act after the election. Now, I know, like I said, some people are really upset about the elections. I have my own feelings about it. But what we're not going to do is bully people. And I know there's some crazy videos that came out after the election. I know it did. I know there's some people calling out other creators. But one thing that we're not going to sit on the internet, if I can help it, is we are not going to let me put this down because I'm about to get real animated. Okay, we are not going to bully somebody because of their religious views, nor are we going to bully and call out other creators, especially in the crochet and knitting and fiber arts community, because of their political views. And I'm about to call out names, so get ready, get your tea bags ready, because it's about to be piping hot. I don't know if it's still up because I have unfollowed her, but the creator of the Cordsmith, which I've actually reviewed and showed you how to use on my channel. I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'm going to probably keep the video up because I think it's useful information. But the creator of the original Cordsmith, which is the Instagram size inclusive, she was a diehard Kamala Harris supporter, right? Nothing wrong with that. You can do whatever you want, especially leading up to the election. She donated a portion of her business earnings to the Kamala Harris election. Cool. We knew that coming into it, people bought from her. She updated people on how much money she sent, all that great stuff. That is your God-given right in this free country. Cool. Once the election came out, I don't know exactly when this happened. I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 days ago. But she posted, I didn't read it all because I don't like reading big walls of text. I need, at least give me like a TLDR at the end of it, right? Because I'm not about to read all that. If it's not a book or the Bible, I'm not reading all that, okay? Big wall of text. And I think it's probably still on her account, but it says like, why does it matter or something like that? Does it even matter or something like that? And she talks about how like, I don't know. I honestly didn't read it, right? I just knew that in there, I knew that she was talking about other creators and talking about what other creators did or didn't do, or who they did and who they didn't vote for, right? And the reason why I knew this is because she posted on her, this is just from my perspective. Like I said, I didn't read any of it, but I can get context clues based off of the other things that you post around it, right? And so I believe she was talking about other creators on here. And she posted a picture on her story of Crazy Sock Lady and who she followed on her public personal account. If you don't know, Crazy Sock Lady is a knitter who is also a Christian woman. That's her platform. She's a Christian mom. She prays for other creators. She does YouTube videos. She does sock patterns. That's how I even knew about Crazy Sock Lady, is because I was knitting socks for my husband. I don't have it here with me, but I started knitting socks for my husband based off her videos. Super nice lady, okay? But Size Inclusive wanted to be like, I'm just saying, this creator over here follows this political, this politician and this other politician. So is she really a safe space for so and so and so and so? Like, bro. And I was like, that's really weird behavior. Okay? That's really weird behavior to go and like, because there's probably some people who follow Crazy Sock Lady and just likes her for her. Doesn't care about her political views, doesn't care about her religious views, but you just sat here as a grown woman beating down or punching down to another grown woman based off of the choices that she made for herself. That was weird and childish behavior. So Size Inclusive, if you're watching this, grow up. For real. And I don't care. I already unfollowed you off of every platform. I'm pretty sure that doesn't matter to you. But really, that was childish behavior. For real. On some real stuff. I don't know if you were able to see it ever again. I didn't take screenshots, so I don't care. But just in general, you can kind of get the gist of her platform. It's really like, oh, your patterns are this and that, and like really like policing the fiber arts community. And I'm all about making things great, right? I'm all about policing and making sure people are being inclusive, but your actions were not inclusive. And it felt like she was only being inclusive for her gain, what was acceptable to her. I was irritated. And like I said, there's some points that I agree with Size Inclusive, and there are some points that I agree with Crazy Sock Lady. You will never catch me talking bad about somebody's political views and their religious views. There's just some things you don't talk about. if you don't want me to talk about your physical appearance, don't talk about my religious and don't talk about my political views. I feel like that's a fair exchange, right? Okay, that's all I'm about to say about that. Okay, that was my rant. I'm stepping off my soapbox and let's talk about something more fun. Okay, I'm gonna talk about my Christmas list. Okay, so I first of all, I need a new computer. I've had to refilm this episode twice because my camera keeps freezing and my computer keeps acting a little weird. Matter of fact, let me just check and make sure we're still recording. Okay, we're going strong. I need a new computer because it's getting a little scary. I feel like I've already had to replace my monitor. Oh my gosh, that was so annoying. But I think I may need a new computer in general. My husband keeps saying that he wants to build me a computer, but I want it to at least look cute. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see when that happens. But because I started knitting, I really like the knit picks, not knit picks. Is it knit picks? Knitter Pride. Knit. Oh my gosh. Let me get a sip of water. I think I'm just so worked up off of that last topic. Because I really hate bullying. You can't bully somebody who is so sweet. So I really like Knitter's Pride. And I have like their, I don't have my other needles up here, but I have their bamboo needles. These are the needles that somebody had given me as a gift. As you can already see, like I don't like the cord that it came with. But the Knitter's Pride cords and the Lantern Moon cords and everything is interchangeable within those two systems. So I was super glad because I have the Lantern Moon Tunisian crochet hooks. So I've been using the Knitted Pride needles. And I just tried it. I wanted to try out some metal ones. So I got a size 6 US 6 knitting needles for the Petite Knit scarf, Sophie scarf. And these are from the Mindful collection, which I really, really like. And I'm using my Lantern Moon. You can see I'm using my Lantern Moon. Is it going to focus? I'm using my Lantern Moon cords because these originally come with blue cords, but I don't have, these are the shortest ones I have that will work with this pattern. And I'm really enjoying these so far. So I'm thinking that I want for Christmas, if anybody cares, I want the Knitter's Pride or the Knit Pro interchangeable needles from the Mindful collection. I want the whole entire interchangeable because I'm definitely thinking of doing some lace work, but I want to do the lace ones in the 5-inch tips. It does cost a pretty penny. I was looking them up on Jimmy Bean Yarn. That's where I get all my stuff now because I don't go to my local yarn store no more. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So I want that set. I think it's so aesthetically pleasing and everything else that I've seen. I think those are the ones that I want to get. And they work well with my Lantern Moon Tunisian crochet hooks, which I love. And those are my favorite. But yeah, so the reason why I don't go to, so there's 2 local yarn stores in my area that I can go to. Both of them are about 20 minutes away from me. One of them I have boycotted. Y'all are just getting all the tea today. So one of them I have boycotted because every time I go in there, well, not every time I go in there, but the last few times I went in there was like not enjoyable. So the last time I went in there just to get the Malabrigo Noventa yarn and natural. I already had the pink one. I just wanted to get the natural. And so there was a lady in there who sees me a lot, obviously. And I was wearing a crochet cardigan. I was wearing my 6-day crochet cardigan, hexagon cardigan. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's a nice cardigan, just to show you that crochet can look good. And I was like, you rude. I was like, okay, I'm not spending any more money than I need to. So I got my natural yarn and I left. I went there for the yarn crawl. Okay, based off, after that, after the yarn crawl, I'm never going again. I don't care if they're ever in, I don't care if they're ever in another yarn crawl. I'm never spending my money there again. So they have a dog. Okay, I understand the owner has a dog and it's a standard poodle. Standard poodles are big dogs. All right, and I had my son with me. Actually, I had both kids with me. One of my kids was strapped to me and the other one I had like in my hand. So as I was shopping, like my son was kind of, I mean, this is not the first time my son's been there. So he was like petting the dog. And he, at the time, he was 2 years old. So he's running around. And they're like, oh no, don't pet the dog. Oh no, don't run because he's going to chase after you in the store. Oh no, don't do this. Oh no, don't do that. And like my son had a toy that he carries around with him. And the dog like kept trying to take the toy away from us. And I'm just like, and the dog is like following me around the store. And I'm just like looking at the owner like, can you please get your dog? And then like also, why would you, that's another thing that I think like really irritated me. Why would you have a dog around yarn? And I understand that poodles don't shed that often, but like it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I haven't been there since. I haven't been there since. I'm going to be honest. Because I have kids. Your dog, I mean, it's a dog. Like, it's a dog. You can get a babysitter. You can, I am my kid's babysitter. Okay? My kids go wherever I go unless somebody's watching them. Your dog can go outside. I'm just gonna be honest. Why does your dog have to be around the yard? I understand that you made your dog your mascot of your store. It just hasn't been. I don't think I'll ever go back to that store anymore. And so I started going to Jimmy Bean Wool for all of my LYS needs. Because the other LYS by me, they just don't have what I need majority of the time. It's a smaller store. But yeah, I go to Jimmy Bean Wool online. I'm an affiliate with them, so it works out great. And they have really good deals. I've never had bad anything with them. So that was my LYS experience. I know there was just a conversation on TikTok where people were talking about, I think we can all agree that your local yarn store, the people there that work there are pretty mean. And it is a fact. Like, they're yarn snobs. Like, if you come in there knitted, and at the time I didn't know how to knit. But if you go in there and it's not a knitted item, they act weird. If you go in there and you're wearing something made out of acrylic yarn, they act weird. So, and I spent good money there too, but they still be acting weird around me. And I'm just like, I don't like that. So I don't think LYSs are for me. I did enjoy the last yarn crawl that I did, but I think that'll probably be my last one. I'm going to be honest. Because yarn crawls are meant for people to stimulate these small businesses and local yarn stores. But I think they're doing like a dogwood, because I live in Virginia, so I think they're trying to do like a dogwood yarn crawl, but I think that's like impossible because it's like all around Virginia, so I think that's not gonna work for me. The other one was like the James River yarn crawl, so it's like down, like in my area, not really in my area. Like, I had to drive 2 hours to one of them, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think that's gonna be the end of my, like, I'm not gonna try to, because normally, like, the appeal of a local yarn store is to like be a part of that community, because it was called, I'm not gonna tell you what the yarn I'm not gonna tell you what the yarn store is called, but they build like a community, and I'm just like, I'm not liking the community, and it's a lot of older people, and I'm the only black person. So I just don't think it's for me, and that's okay. I think I found my community here on YouTube, right? Can I get an amen in the chat? But yeah, guys, that's gonna be the end of my local yarn store experience, because I think I'm just gonna stick to what I know, and that's gonna be online. Um, but yeah, y'all let me know down in the comments if you've ever learned how to knit and crochet. If you're learning how to knit and crochet, what are some things that you struggle with in knit and crochet? I want to know. I've really been enjoying knitting. Like, it's opened up another door. It feels, you know how sometimes you get like bored with something? This learning how to knit and doing different things and kind of like gradually building up my skills is refreshing. It's almost how I felt when I learned how to Tunisian crochet, like, honestly. And I've gotten to the point now where I know what I like when it comes to my tools, so I can just buy one thing and stick with one thing, even though crochet hooks still have a very soft spot in my heart. Especially the furls crochet hooks. You know, I have an extensive furls crochet hook collection, in my opinion, but I do think that I'm going to be downsizing and probably selling some of them, just because it's a lot and I don't need them all. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, okay, now that I see it, I'm like, ooh. So I don't know, guys. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I think I'm all yapped out. We've been here for a good little minute, and it's time for me to go to bed, y'all. So let me know down below in the comments if you enjoyed this yap session, this podcast. And let me know if you want me to do more of these. I hope you were able to work on a project and hear me talk and rant and stuff. And let me know what your favorite part is. But yeah, guys, I'm going to end it here. I hope you have a wonderful day. Oh, wait, that's not my outro. What is it? That's going to be it for today's podcast. There we go. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And as always, create something gorgeous. Bye, guys.